God's Country, downtown Port Allen at Court Street Cafe. Today on Sports George Daily, presented by L'Auberge Casino. We are going to get into Tom Brady makes it official, right? You know, there was a little bit of take back over the weekend. Hey, hasn't made it official. You know, let's wait and see. Well, Tom Brady made it official and has retired, and that's a done deal. The question for him is what's next? And will there ever be another Tom Brady? Will Mahomes become Tom Brady? Will Joe Burrow become Tom Brady? Will anybody come close to that kind of career? We'll get into that. Also, LSU men's basketball, lots of trouble. They are now have a losing record in the SEC. They find themselves 4-5. They just lost to an Ole Miss team who came in with only 2 wins in the conference play, and they were at home. They had Days and Pinson back, and it didn't make a difference. They trailed the whole game. They were double digits at halftime. They never led, and LSU loses after a comeback from 12 down at half to cut it to 2 right with a minute or so to go. They couldn't get it done, and LSU loses. Trouble for the LSU basketball team in a big way. I mean, they went from 2 weeks ago talk of them being a potential number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament to now just trying to make sure they get into the NCAA tournament. So anyway, we'll get into that. And what else is going on? Oh, giant lawsuit in the world of sports. Bryan Flores, the head coach, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, who we would have thought by now would have probably had another job lined up after 2 winning seasons in a row. And it was very curious that he was let go by the Dolphins. But as we reported here, some of that was kind of his harshness as a coach, kind of that old school throwback coach, no nonsense, which doesn't play all that well these days, unfortunately, in the NFL. That kind of cost him his job. Well, now we're finding out that there's a lot going on with Bryan Flores and the NFL, major lawsuit. There's Tommy's going to tell you about something that happened back in 2019 with the Dolphins, might cost Steve Ross, the owner, the franchise. I mean, crazy stuff. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. Let's bring in TK over at Court Street Cafe. Let's talk about Flores first because it's kind of salacious, right? 2019, what is he reporting that happened?
In his lawsuit, he's saying that the owner, Stephen Ross, offered him $100,000 for a game that he lost, to lose a game, to tank and get a better draft choice. Now, this is major, okay? The lawsuit is, and there's allegations, and time will tell us what's accurate or not. Bill Belichick texting the wrong Brian. Anyway, but Ryan, the NFL is all in on gambling, okay? 15 years ago, you'd have never dreamed they had a team in Vegas. Now, not only do they have a team in Vegas, they're all in on gambling. And if there's even a slight thought that an owner, Stephen Ross of the Dolphins, was fixing games, this is a problem. Huge problem. Very huge problem. Now, we're going to get to the bottom of it. And if it's accurate, that's not good at all for the NFL. And if it's, right now it doesn't look good. If Bryan Flores has any kind of paper trail or any kind of witness to that conversation, Ross is not going to own the Dolphins anymore. I know that. And then number 2, the NFL is going to have to really try to unscramble the egg here and go forward. I mean, there's a lot of problems with this black coach stuff and the job interviews. And he said he had a sham of an interview in Denver, and that the Giants interviewed him after they already hired somebody, which is not right. So not good. If in fact all that's true, NFL's got a lot of problems on their hands. At a time when they just had 6 of the greatest playoff games in history, you got an intriguing Super Bowl matchup in Los Angeles. I mean, there's a lot of things trending in the right way for the NFL, and then kaboom with this thing, and it's not going to go away.
Well, you said, what did you say about how he mentioned the Denver Broncos interview with John Elway, how that was a sham?
He was like an hour. The Broncos officials, including Elway, were like an hour late for the meeting, and then he in his words, they were hungover from partying the night before, and they just kind of scooted through the interview. Like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Okay, see you. He said it was a total sham of an interview. Now, was his agent present? Was his lawyer present? Is there a witness? I mean, that's what we got to. The tape don't lie. The video recordings, the audio recordings don't lie. I would think, and I was also heard this morning that the law firm that he has hired for this suit to the NFL is extremely reputable, thought to be an outstanding top firm with great lawyers that, wouldn't have, this is not some lawyer that took this trying to get publicity or, hit the pot of gold. But so, I mean, and the story's going to change every hour today, but NFL's can't feel good about this, especially from the initial image. And then, of course, their lawyers are making no comment right now. But the biggest thing, and it's kind of funny, Ronnie, you've done this and I've done this. You send a text message that's not meant for the person who receives it. And sometimes it's trivial, but it has happened in the world of text messaging every day. And I don't know anybody that's never done that. You meant to send it to Ronnie and it went to Joel or vice versa. So Bill Belichick, thinking he's texting Brian Daboll, who got the Giants job. Congratulations on the job. That's great. And he was texting Brian Flores, and Flores went back and forth with him, like, you know who you're texting here? What? And then it was, oops, And look, text message is a legal document in the court of law now. So if that is accurate, they're all timestamped. They can print all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be pretty for the Giants in the NFL, not to mention the Dolphins thing. And then all the black coaches, Eric Bieniemy's yet to get an interview. And I mean, I think the situation's real. Of course, other people know more about it than I. But, man, it's just the Rooney Rule. I mean,
what's interesting,
it's a slippery slope. That's the best way to describe this. This whole thing is a very, very slippery slope. We're going to see who falls off.
The Bill Belichick text thing is hilarious and damning. And then that's simple. That's something that everybody can understand. As you mentioned, sending a text message to the wrong person, particularly when you have, two Brians in your phone or multiple Brians in your phone, you send it to the wrong Brian. But the guy, Flores, hadn't even interviewed yet. He was going to interview in a few days. And Bill Belichick already had inside info that this guy, the other Brian, was going to be hired. I mean, that is – and then he admits, oh, my God, I'm sorry, I effed up, in the text message. I mean, it's unbelievable. But here's the thing that surprises me, and Chance says this right here, okay? The Rooney Rule, while good intentioned, has caused problems when teams have their man but have to interview people. The Rooney Rule has been around forever. It's been around for, 20 years at least right now or something like that? It's been around for a long time. These teams should have this down on how to handle the Rooney Rule. And at the same point, I get it. When the Rooney Rule first came out, maybe it's a little clunky, maybe it's a little weird, and that you got to make sure you interview, one or two minority candidates or whatever the actual rule reads like these days. I'm sure it's been tweaked since. But this has been around for a long time. Why is this still difficult? It just should be an automatic, this is what we have to do. And the fact that it's clunky and weird and people are getting caught with their hand in a cookie jar and is kind of ridiculous. And, especially in this day and age, man, when all the players are, most of the large majority of the players are African-American and, you got more African-American coaches than ever and executives than ever. How is this still a hard, weird thing to execute the letter of the law, NFL rules, been around for 20 years, but yet they still aren't doing it. And my goodness, it's a strange deal, man.
It's hard to comprehend, Ronnie. I mean, if you're an NFL owner, there are rules in place, thousands of rules. You got to follow them. I think what happens, they get, bulletproof, invincible. They think they are invisible. We really want to hire Ronnie Rance, but I got to go ahead and interview Christ and just to see what they might have to say, I mean, you got to follow the rules of the league you're a part of. And the league, has gone to great lengths and great expense to try to, balance the scale here, make things fair. And then when you got 32 owners and some of them aren't abiding by the rules, and I'm sure some of them are following them to the T. I'm not throwing a blanket on everybody here. It's an ugly look, man. It's an ugly look.
Good morning, Steve, and good morning, Chance, and everybody else that's on here, Mom and Craig and everybody else. All right, so this lawsuit, and this gets asked, will Brian Flores ever coach again? I don't think he coaches this year. You sue the Giants, you sue the NFL, you make accusations against Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, that he offered $100,000 to lose games in 2019 to get a better draft pick. This is too major. And regardless of whether Flores is right about it, and it clearly kind of looks like he's got the ammunition. I don't think he made up that story with Ross. We saw the smoking gun already with the text messages with Bill Belichick. He probably is going to win his lawsuit or get some sort of settlement. But if you're an NFL team, it seems like you're in the old boys club. I mean, you just don't hire people who sue people. And so I think until this is resolved, I can't see him coaching.
Yeah, no, he's not gonna be coaching while this lawsuit's on the table. Now, they're gonna settle with him. I think the last thing they want is to give any kind of implication that games were being fixed in Miami or attempting to be fixed. So, you're going to do like Kaepernick. You're going to pay him to go away, and then he's going to agree to never talk about it again and no legal action, etc. That's what the NFL's got deep pockets. Trust me, they're much deeper than Brian Flores, way deeper. So that's what's I think will end up happening. But the things that come out while we wait for this to play out could be quite damning for the NFL if they're correct.
So, kind of on the NFL topic, I watched the movie Home Team that's loosely based on Sean Payton's suspension from 2012, the one where Kevin James plays Sean Payton. And it's a kid's movie. It's a comedy. It's loosely based on the Sean Payton stuff in the sense that it shows him winning the Super Bowl. It shows him being suspended for a year due to Bountygate. They don't get into the details of the Bountygate or anything like that. It shows him going back to Texas. Now, in reality, he went back to Dallas, but in the movie, he goes to some town in the middle of nowhere where his ex-wife lives and his son is a 12-year-old or something like that, around that age. And he ends up helping out, coaching his little league team, football team, which of course is like the Bad News Bears. They're terrible. And then he gets them playing well, and they end up, in the championship game and all that kind of stuff. And of course, there's the disconnect between him and his son because he's never home. He doesn't know his son very well because he's never around. And then they end up repairing that relationship. And then the rest is just that's it. And we don't know in real life if that's true in the sense that him and his son had any sort of disconnect and all that kind of thing. You can assume any head football coach in the NFL whose parents get divorced probably doesn't have the best relationship of their son. But it's worth the watch from a standpoint of it's an hour and a half of mindless television. It's a comedy. It's a sort of a kid's movie. It's if you got nothing to do, you want to do it, you're LSU Saints fan. And, oh, by the way, Sean Payton makes a cameo in the movie at the end. He doesn't play himself, obviously. He plays somebody else. He makes a cameo at the end, which is cute. But anyway, I would say, Tommy, if you stumble upon an hour and a half and you're going, what am I going to do? And you got nothing to do and you want to change it up, watch it.
Well, I can't wait to not watch it, Ronnie. Can I tell a movie story that involves you and me?
Oh, my God. Yeah, you're not a big movie guy. Yeah, go ahead. Tell
I'm not a movie. All right, listen up here. Chance and Steven and everybody, all you guys out there. About 25 years ago, Ronnie and I were talking about something, literally 25 years ago. I said, I'm not a movie guy. And I made the comment that I had not seen The Godfather in its entirety. Ronnie gave me 30 days to watch it, or he was never speaking to me again. Okay. Well, I made sure I watched it within 30. Now I've seen it 25 times because when it comes on, I watch it again. You remember that? You said if you don't watch it in 30 days, because it's on like one of these channels like every night, you weren't going to speak to me again. I said, oh my, I got to watch this movie. So I did. And I've seen it a lot since. But I'm not a huge movie guy. And, I'll say this may sound odd. I'm not a huge sports movie guy because it's too Hollywoody.
Right.
It's not real. But it's just my 2 cents worth, and a lot of people love them, and I'm fine with that. If you want to, if you want, the greatest sports movie is a movie called Long Gone. It was made for cable only. It's about minor
Okay, you
league
think that's the
baseball.
greatest? I watched it. Yeah,
Yeah,
HBO movie.
that's real to me compared to some of the other ones. Bull Durham and Major League, all that's funny, and there's a lot of significant accuracies in there, and a lot of cool things that people learn about what happens behind the closed doors. But it's still Hollywood.
The Long Gone came out. It's a minor league baseball movie, similar to Bull Durham in the sense that it's a minor league baseball movie, but it takes place in the old days, like in the 50s. Tommy,
A little after that, like
50s,
60s.
60s. Okay,
Yeah.
So anyway, Long Gone, kind of a retro look where Bull Durham was a modern at the time. When it was in the late 80s. It was up to the times in the late 80s, but. I agree with you. I thought Long Gone was a fantastic movie. It was an HBO movie back when HBO wasn't as big as it is now, I guess. And so, but I don't know if for me if it was the greatest one, but it's definitely.
Well, I'll say it's my favorite. Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime one of the female leads' name is Dixie Lee Box, that's a good movie.
That's right. That was her name. I remember that. Wow, I hadn't heard that in a long time.
All right, let's get off the movie thing. We're killing people.
Let's talk LSU hoops here.
LSU.
What's going on, TK? What are you seeing? I mean, they now have a losing record in the SEC. They were on their way to being a lock NCAA tournament team. They're not a lock NCAA tournament team right now because, matter of fact, they'd have to be out right now. They don't even have a winning record in the SEC. You got to have a winning record. You got to be 500 or better, to get into the NCAA tournament in your league. They went from being a potential 1-2 seed 2-3 weeks ago to now, in my mind, out of the tournament.
Well, they're 4-5 in league play, and the league is not going to get any easier as they go forward. But here's the thing, Ron, and a couple guys I was sitting with last night, fair criticism, they don't run offense. It's PE class basketball. And I've got to believe Will Wade's coaching offense, and they're working on it in practice. When they get on the floor, they don't do it, and they can't score the basketball. Ole Miss just took it to them. Ole Miss had lost 6 straight trips into Baton Rouge, had lost, and they came in and they were whipping the butts. Now, LSU shook back in there and made it a game. I got within 2 points, I want to say, and then Ole Miss separated again. They made a run coming back at it. Basketball is a game of runs. But this is not a good basketball team, not even close. Like what is that? Jerry Palm, that guy came out a couple weeks ago, had him projected as a number 1 seed. They might not be a number 1 seed in Louisiana the way UNO's playing right now. I mean, gee.
Yeah, last night when the announcers said LSU's never out of a game and neither is their opponent. That is very true. That's very true. Also, LSU from a standpoint of dysfunction on offense. I mean, they just don't really have much of an offense. Let's see. Steven says 100% TK can't see any type of fluidity of players on offense,
And watch, here's the thing. When fans watch it, LSU fans watch a game, they only see a half a game. Okay, they don't see. But go back and look at Ole Miss's offense. Kermit Davis is a heck of a coach. Used to be in Baton Rouge under John Brady. And they got an offense. LSU doesn't have one. If anybody wants to, I'll help you break down the tape. I got a little knowledge about basketball from back in the day, and I can break it down for you and show you that they're not running an offense. It's one guy with the ball, 4 standing around, and maybe somebody moves.
Announcer last night, if you like chaos.
Yeah, chaos. Well, what did Dale Brown have? What did he call that? The freak
defense.
Yeah, because it wasn't an offense, and nobody could name
defense.
it, and nobody knew how to defend it because it was. It was a freak offense. Well, they're running it again. It's bad.
Freak defense.
Will Wade promised all these changes, and he's going to redirect this, redirect that. He's not connecting with the kids right now because they're not doing anything he's saying, I don't think.
Statistically, LSU had 65 shots, out-rebounded Ole Miss, created more turnovers, and still lost. Partly that, Tommy, was they didn't play good defense in the first half. Ole Miss shot, I think, 65%, over 60% from 3 in the field. And they just built themselves so much of a cushion that by the time LSU got their act together defensively and Ole Miss slowed down a little bit, they were able to make a run. But, that Ole Miss first half, they were as hot as anybody
And that happens. I mean, they're SEC players with scholarships, and I think Kermit Davis is a heck of a coach. So, we'll see what happens going forward.
Sidney Terrio, congratulations. You were in the rocking chair if you took Ole Miss plus 12.5 and over 127. That was killing last night.
Yeah, real good, Sidney. I'm not going to tell you what I bet.
Well, I'm going to tell you that
it wasn't the LSU game.
I tried to press the button to put in my bet for Ole Miss plus 12.5, like I'm right before tip, and I waited too long. And as I'm literally doing it on my app, it goes game offline. Like they must have closed the door right before the tip, and I was like, oh. And of course, so I had to sit there and watch LSU. Ole Miss cover the 12.5. Let's see here. Some other things I want to jump in here. Some other comments that people made. By the way, Chance says The Godfather 1 and 2, two of the best movies ever made. I agree with you, Chance.
Go Chance. Chance, the movie guru.
Yeah, well, Tommy's not.
While Ronnie's checking all this out, y'all don't forget to like and share this stuff, okay? That's the price of admission, like and share. I mean, we can't charge you for this stuff, but we can ask you to like and share it.
The hockey movie Miracle about the 1980 USA team. That's one of Rachel's first favorites with Kurt Russell. Hoosiers, Tommy. That's a great one. For sports movies go, top 5, right? Hoosiers?
I've never seen it.
For real?
I'm being honest. For real? I've never seen it.
You've never seen Hoosiers?
No. I'm not a movie guy, Ron.
I mean, Tommy, come on, bro. I mean, you played basketball in high school. You would love this movie. It's literally, you got to watch it before the next show on Friday. Come on.
I don't know if I can get it before. Give me like a month to watch it.
Oh, my God. Like, you're so important. Like, you don't have an hour and a half somewhere to go.
I know. I'm a busy guy.
So ridiculous. Yeah. Let's see. I just can't even believe that. I don't even know who you are. Long Gone. Thank you, Craig. Long Gone sounds like a Ronnie changeup. Yeah, the movie Long Gone. Not funny. By the way, speaking of changeups that were long gone, the furthest home run I ever saw hit in my life in person. Paul Bird, love him, one of my favorite people on the planet, threw a changeup against Perry. Herbert Perry, I think Perry was his name, third baseman for the Florida Gators, played in the big leagues a little bit. And in college, he was just dominant. And he hung a changeup in the Superdome in New Orleans against Florida, and he hit it into the terrace level, the third deck in the Superdome. I've never seen anything like that before. Of course, they don't play baseball anymore, and will never play baseball anymore in the Dome. When Katrina happened, it ruined the baseball field that they had stored underneath the stadium. And when they, so they threw it away. When they remodeled, they didn't worry about the configuration. Well, a lot of people, Stephen Miller, Jimmy Chitwood is still making shots. He's from the movie Hoosiers, Tommy. You got to watch it. I'm telling you. Everybody's got a comment. They can't believe that you're not watching. Devin's saying We Are Marshall is a fantastic movie. I'm sure you haven't seen that one.
I saw that one.
Why did you see that one and not Hoosiers?
I must have been bored.
Let's see what else. Friday Night Lights. Did you ever see that one?
No.
High school football.
I know what it's about, but no, I've never seen it. Didn't they spin that off into a TV show?
Yes, it did. It did. It spun it off into a TV. By the way, Rachel says he's so busy.
Thank you, Rachel.
And then lastly, I'll give you two. For Love of the Game, did you see that one with Kevin Costner?
Yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hoosiers is better. Did you see The Program, the college football movie?
No.
Okay. No. That one's from the 90s, The Program, another fantastic movie. All right, Tommy, I don't know what's going on here with you. I'd
rather watch Married with Children.
Really? All right. Last thing, National Signing Day today. Remember when National Signing Day in February used to be a giant thing? I mean, we remember how for 20 years they had the big signing day parties at it started out in the field house at LSU, then it went to the atrium and at the Bell, and then it moved its way into the River Center, convention center. I mean, this was something people took the day off of work. It was a giant deal, a big party all day, celebrating signees and LSU football, and now it's just a wonk, wonk, wonk.
I was thinking on my way over here to Port Allen this morning. Man, it got to be 12 or 14 years in a row I broadcast live from the signing day bash, wherever it might have been, the Gridiron Club back in the day, and it was just unbelievable because that was when a lot of people didn't know what we looked like on the radio, and they'd come out and say hello. I mean, it was really a fun day, and it was a great day for LSU football fans in lots of ways. And a lot of the people that would tailgate together at games or go to games together, like you said, right? They'd take a day off of work, and they went to the recruiting bash. And they got there when the donuts were served, and they didn't leave till after dark. I mean, it was a major event. The Gridiron Club did a great job. It kind of got started by Jerry DiNardo, actually, with the old fax machine in the field house. So, right. But you're right. Now it's like, it's like, oh, yeah, it's signing day. Oh, that's right. I'll check about noon today to see what they got. Because the internet, it's changed all that. The internet eliminated the recruiting bash. Because I remember when this thing was coming over the fax machine, you go, oh, it's Ronnie Rance, he signed, and nobody knew until that moment. And then they'd put your name up on the little board or whatever.
Ragu would bring the fax, over there to you, and here you go, we got one,
and then people would give like a standing ovation, like they ran a touchdown back for 90 yards or something.
The internet was a game changer, but really the early signing day period ruined things, because even at least when you had the internet and there was signing day, it became official today. And today was a celebration of LSU football. It was a celebration of the National Signing Day. It was just a big party. And, you had the former players and the current coaches, and, the coaches would come in there and talk about, their recruits that signed. And at the end of the afternoon, the band would play. And it was just a big celebration, at least in Baton Rouge. And a lot of places did that, not just LSU. But now there's none of it, because there's just no drama whatsoever because of the early signing period. You basically are split into two parts. So it's kind of sad to see it go. Before we go, I want to get your reaction. Tom Brady made things official since we were last on the air Monday morning. There was a little bit of a pause. Let's wait. He kind of hinted that he hadn't made up his mind fully, but now he went ahead and he made it official. Will there ever be another player, Tommy, in your opinion, that's out there right now that comes anywhere near Tom Brady's numbers for 22
years? I don't think so, just because they're so mind-boggling. Father Time caught up to him. Father Time's undefeated. He just can't perform like he would like to. I think he's the great. I'm never one of these guys to say the greatest. I always said one of the greatest, because I didn't want to box it in. But I think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, with all due respect to a lot of other great quarterbacks. But the proof's in the pudding. The numbers speak for themselves. Now, Ronnie, I didn't know this till early this morning. He is number 2 all time as a quarterback against the spread. He's hit like 58.6% of his games in his career. He's covered the spread, but that's only number 2 of all time. You want to take a stab at who number 1 is? And I posted this on the Meat and Potatoes USA Facebook page. The article is posted. You want to take a stab at who number 1? Joe Montana. Montana's got like 60, like a couple of percentage points higher than Brady in a career against the spread.
Stephen reporting for us that LSU just got its first signee today, Jalen Davis Robinson from Texas. Usually these signees come in like 7 a.m. The fax
they stagger it now, Ronnie, so that they can all get the limelight. It goes back to years ago. I don't know if you remember this, Ronnie. Years ago, J.T. Curtis, who's still coaching at John Curtis, I'm going back 25, 30 years ago. He would have all his kids sign on Thursday, so that they would have more of a spotlight than when hundreds of kids signed Wednesday. All his guys would wait, so that the newspaper article would have just them, the day after. So, but no, it's different now, and they plan this out. Okay, you're going to sign at 9:30, then we're going to put out social media stuff. Next guy's coming at 10 o'clock. Then it's all orchestrated now.
So Robinson is the 3-star cornerback, obviously very fast, ran a 10.5 100 meter. So that's who the LSU picked up. They picked up a defensive back, and obviously they need it with all the departures and stuff like that of the people that left. Did you see this? Did you see the Tom Brady, Joe Burrow interview that Chance is talking about? I did not see that. I have to. Did you hear Tom Brady and Joe Burrow?
I did not hear them two. I know Mahomes. Hot Mike caught Mahomes after the game. Told Burrow go win it all.
Yeah.
You know, when the quarterbacks meet after the game, some hot Mike caught that. I've seen that, but I haven't seen a Tom Brady Joe Burrow thing.
So the problem that not everybody's built like Tom, and what I mean by that is this guy gave up a lot of money throughout his career to help the cap situation. Even Drew wasn't as, didn't give up the money the way Tom did, although Drew did honor his original contract without trying to renegotiate it and played out the terms of the deal. But you've got a situation where, the money is so great, Tommy. And when we're talking about, 30, 40, $50 million a year, these quarterbacks are going to be making, these upper echelon top 5 quarterbacks from beyond that initial contract for the rest of their career. So the question becomes, at some point, do you have so much money that you still have the burn and the desire to put your body and your health on the line and to get up and grind and work and work and work? Or is, $1 billion enough? Because, at some point, these guys are going to have made over $500 million. The Pat Mahomes of the world, but even potentially Joe Burrows, if they stay healthy, if they play for 15 years in this day and age in the structure of football and the cap's going up and up and up, they will have made $500 million. It's hard to keep the fire and the burn alive when you have that kind of money and your generational wealth to help support everybody with a B in their last name. I just wonder if that drive that Tom had is just special and different than everybody else.
Well, and one of the differences is also Brady's wife makes more money than him. A lot of NFL quarterback wives don't work, or if they do, it's some kind of charitable thing. I'm not saying they don't do anything, but so that's a different thing. I just think Brady knows he can't compete at the level he wants to compete at any longer. Father, I always say, hey, he's going to play till he's 50. No. Father Time's undefeated. Everybody has to hang it up sooner or later. But again, I typically don't like to say the greatest. I always want to say one of the greatest. But I think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to play the game.
Okay, so I did see what Chance is talking about. It was the Jim Gray interview on the podcast where Tom Brady took the shot at Ohio State and said that he knew Burrow was smart.
He's got a podcast called Let's Go, and Brady's got tons of other business interests, and he's just going to fool with that, kind of like Drew Brees. He's got a lot of irons in the fire, but
Brady said he knew Burrow was smart when he transferred from Ohio State.
I got quickly. Today's National Signing Day, and the Vikings are expected to name Jim Harbaugh head coach later today. That's Harbaugh taking a big stick right at Michigan, a big slap in the face that on National Signing Day he's going to leave the Wolverines because they reduced his contract when he didn't perform as well as they wanted him to. If he takes that Vikings job today, which is expected and is being reported, that he's really sticking it to Michigan, a little left-handed slap there.
All right. Well, he's Tommy. I'm Ronnie. Don't forget, Friday morning we'll be back for more Sports Shorts Daily, and then of course this weekend, Saturday morning, 10 to noon on ESPN Radio. Tell us about over there at Court Street Cafe.
Well, the lunch special today is the fried pork chop with broccoli and rice casserole. We got a ribeye for lunch tomorrow, fried fish on Friday, 7 days a week. A great brunch on Sundays. 805 Court Street in Port Allen, 2 minutes after you get over the bridge. I'm telling you, I'll leave the middle of Baton Rouge. It takes me 10, 12 minutes to get here in the morning. Now, I know I'm going a little bit the other direction, but it's you folks working in downtown Baton Rouge or near the LSU campus, get over here to Port Allen for the Court Street Cafe. Jason and Chancey do a great job here. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week. Really good stuff. Little bar that's right behind me. They got a big beer delivery just now. A lot of people stop in for a cold pop, after work or on the way home. Court Street Cafe. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. They post lots of pictures on the specials because their specials aren't identical every day. Like every Tuesday is not the same thing. They mix it up a little bit. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen.
All right. We'll see you on Friday, everybody. Until then, please like and share and have a great one. Thank you.